Hey, didn't see you there. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and thanks for watching. I know I've briefly touched on hook baits and rigs already. A few weeks back I've done a little video on the baits and hook links and things that I'm going to use while I'm in France. But I wanted to go back on to the subject briefly and basically talk about called a goo, how I use it in my fishing and what it does to the hook baits as well. It's no sort of secret, it is a very pungent mix, and it's a very good seller, very popular product. So much so, as you probably saw from the intro, I've got pretty much every flavour they've made. But I don't just use match to hatch. I don't just use the pineapple goo for the pineapple hook baits, the tutti frutti and so on. In fact, some of them I've got near enough every flavour, poured on top of my hook baits. Now, what I want to know is, how does that affect the hook bait? How does it leach out? What does it look like? What does it smell like? How does it affect the the underlying scent from the boilie, basically? Now, there is some bits that I do match. So I've got some tutti fruttis in the tutti frutti power smoke, etc. But then I wanted to mix things up a bit. I want to use several fruit goos in my fruity boilies and fishmeal goos in my fishmeal boilies. So what I've done is I've done this video, and basically these are all my baits that I've got glug in, ready for when we go to France in a few weeks. So it's no secret, I am a massive Mainline fan. It's just about the only brand that I will use, and that is solely because of the quality of the baits, and also their instant action or high attract shelf lives are just as good as any freeze bait you can buy. They're soft, they're digestible, and I just think they smell great. So why would I want to change? That's not to say I haven't got other baits. I have got some Nash baits, and I have got some Richworth and sticky baits, but generally I only pick a flavour. Like with the Richworth, tutti frutti. Everyone when they first started carp fishing, no matter how long ago it was, more so for me, back in the 90s, it was Richworth. Richworth and neutral baits were pretty much the market leaders. Nowadays it's more Mainline, CC more sticky, etc. Obviously, once you've found a bait that you're happy with, you're confident with, and all that, it's about the mechanics then of the bait, how you use it and what you do with it. Now, as I say, going back to the tutti frutti, the Richworth tutti frutti, it's a smell that everyone knows. It's a smell that everyone will remember and take them back to their childhood or when they first started carp fishing. The only time I changed is in my bag as a kid when I was out fishing. I always had Richworth tutti frutti, strawberry jam, and Esterberry, I think it was. They were the three sort of go-to baits. Then neutral baits brought out Trigger, which changed it for me a bit. I use Trigger quite regularly and caught really well on it. Then sort of Mainline did come more into the picture, with the Assassinate and Activate. I've still got Activate now from when I was fishing all them years ago, and it's still one of my favourite baits. But recently, obviously with the launch of the Link, I've got a massive stock of the Link. Also, Essential Sail is my all-time favourite Mainline bait. I've got it in every imaginable scenario. Bottom baits, both 10, 15 and 20 mil. I've also got the fluoros, the toppers, the wafters, everything. Now that is match to hatch. That is Mainline dip with Mainline Essential Sail boilies. And then obviously the goo comes along. That changed it for me, because when I saw the videos of how it reacted on the lake bottom, I had to get some, and it sort of then became an obsession for me. So you saw the intro, I've got every goo going, and at 11 quid a bottle, that's quite a considerable collection. But it's an investment I think that is well worth it, because that is Essential Sail with both the almond goos. I've got the new white almond smoke and the normal pink almond supreme, and it smells amazing. How that's going to affect, sail on its own and Essential Sail on its own already a very, very good bait. Will that make it any better? Well, that is what we will find out, I guess. But it doesn't have to go there. I mean, that's the almond goo. That's the new sherbet goo with essential sail. Again, you know, it's something different. It's with essential sail, there is quite a fruity smell to it. It does smell quite sweet. So I've tried to match them with sweet goos. So that's essential sail with buttercorn and coconut. And to me, I mean, again, growing up in the 80s and 90s, it just smells like that old, you know, the plasticine before it became super non-toxic and, you know, safe and odorless. It just smells like, do you remember opening a tub of plasticine? It smells like that. So I think that could be a good combination, but again, time will tell. Then we got things like the link with Vindergoo and salty squid. Again, the link being more of a fish mealy boilie, I think, from the smell of it. I've tried to put fish meal and sort of spice goos with it. I don't go too mad, I don't go completely crazy with the goos, but although I'd say that, as you can see in the little video above me now, I have got some pineapple, Mainline high leakage pineapple boilies, and they're pop-ups, and I did go mad. I put, are you ready for this? Get a pen. I've got manganana, almond, coconut, orange, pineapple, bumbleberry, wonderberry, tutti frutti, sherbet, and I believe coconut in there. I added some coconut. Now they smell amazing, they look amazing, and as you can see they leach off an awful lot from the video that's playing above me now. However, as you can also see from the video that's playing above me now, all that goo, because there are some smokes in there as well as the supremes, has affected the buoyancy quite considerably. The bait is now more of a wafter than it is a pop-up, although it's still too buoyant to be a wafter because the size 4 hook it's on a Ronnie rig. This rig here, it's got a different bait on there. Now the bait makes the hook sit upright like that, not like a wafter where it would sit flat and then the wafter would just sit there to take the weight of the hook. It sits like that. So the problem I have there now is I've got to try and weight that boilie, whether I put, you know, maybe a bit of cork in it just to bring it a bit more buoyancy, bring it back up, or whether I put a piece of wire, a lead wire, just round the hair or round the swivel there, just so I can make it sink a bit better so the hook lays properly. So although that gives off a massive amount of like fluorescent mess around the bait, I mean it's leaching a lot of stuff. I mean, unfortunately I can't smell underwater, so I can't tell you if it's still leaching off the same attraction and smells that it smells like while it's in my tub here, which is quite strong, very sweet, which isn't surprising when you consider the amount of fruit goos in there. But it has affected the buoyancy. But then on the other scale that is a 20mm boilie. Again, sort of a tutti frutti 20mm pop-up, which if you look again, the video above me now shows that hasn't lost any buoyancy. And again, that has got pretty much every sort of goo going in, but I've tried to stick more to the supremes with that one. It has got one power smoke in there, which is tutti frutti, but that was only recently added. Whereas the pineapple ones that have lost the buoyancy are actually been soaking for about 8 months now. So you will also notice though there is a big difference on the amount that is leaching off. These have still been soaking about 8 months, but they're more supreme smokes rather than the supreme goos rather than the smoke goos. So that might be the sort of reason behind that, because there is so much smoke in the pineapple pop-ups. It's a heavier liquid, maybe it's, you know, that's what's done it. But if we chop open one of these, we might see how much, you know, is leached into them. I know with some of my other ones you can really clearly see. Yeah, I mean that's a yellow bait, normally a pineapple bait. You can see there's still probably about, what's that, half an inch in the middle there, which is clear. So it has penetrated the bait quite a way, enough to the buoyancy anyway, because you can weigh it down. So that is one thing to consider when you're soaking your baits. And obviously I'm going to have to check before casting all my baits out that they're still performing the way that I hope they will, and maybe even, as I say, compensate with a bit of cork or a bit of lead just to balance the bait a bit better. So yeah, I mean, as I say, don't be afraid to experiment with the goos. That is Tutti Frutti with the pineapple and Tutti Frutti goos. My favourite really, because that just smells amazing. It takes me back to say when Rich were done the Tutti Fruttis, and, you know, getting them out of my bag for the first time. That is Link with squid and crab goo. Again, smells exactly as you'd expect. Very, very fishy. Excuse me. That is pineapple with sherbet. Now, sherbet being the recent release from Corda, is also my favourite. They smell absolutely amazing. If anything can resist that, then I'd be very surprised. And this one, this is buttercorn and banoffee, and to me it smells like popcorn. So you've got the toffee and you've got the corn and the butter, and just so when you start mixing things like that, you do start to, bring out familiar smells, like, as you know, banoffee, so you've got the toffee, butter and corn, you think popcorn. So as soon as I smell it, I'm thinking popcorn, not because I'm putting the two words, because that's what it smells like. So if you can get a balance right and use the right concoctions and mixes of goos, you can really change the way a bait works for you. Again, these are actually the high leakage pineapple pop-ups that I've only got pineapple on, pineapple power smoke, and that is in the video above me now. That does have good buoyancy, and it also leaches an awful lot off. In fact, I come back after half hour in the test tank and the whole bottom of the tank was covered in a fluorescent pineapple goo mess. So I think they're going to do really well. But it doesn't have to stop there. This is a bag mix that I've got knocked up. There is, I mean, such a big list of ingredients now. You've got various sized trout pellets, you've got bloodworm pellets, you've got krill pellets, krill bag mix, spicy chili fish from Mainline bag mix, essential sail bag mix, sail match pellets from in there. I've got every stick mix going in there, so you've got the essential sail, got the Link, activate, and I've also got almond, coconut, pineapple and raspberry goos. Not masses, because you don't need masses. There's no real liquid in that whatsoever, but you can really smell the goos in there, and the oil. You know there's something different in there. So you can use it in stick and bag mixes. Put it on pellets, and I mean, you know the other uses. You can put it in your bags and sprinkle it on your hook baits before you cast it out. I just think if I'm spending that sort of money on a goo, I want to make sure my baits are absolutely soaked in it. I hardly ever use it for just dabbing on and casting out, because although it's a thick, really viscous sort of liquid, I still think as soon as it hits the water it's just going to disperse. So I want to know that my bait's holding that flavour and it's leaking that flavour, like you can see above, constantly leaking it out and doing a job for me. But as I say, going back to the rigs, Ronnie rig, one of my absolute favourite rigs, done really well on that, and yeah, I mean that's just tied on with a bit of bait floss, so nothing new there. However, my second favourite rigs, and another way of attaching baits to this, is the D-rig. Whether it be in hinge or a chod form, I like the D-rig setup with my baits, over a hair setup. There's two ways I attach baits. One is the conventional way, a bit of bait floss, tie it on, melt it down, dab it, job done. I've also been using the quarter floss caps, which I don't know. I still think putting a hair stop or just dabbing is fine. But the other way is if I'm going to be changing baits a lot, or I'm somewhere I'm experimenting a bit, and it is a pain. It doesn't take masses of time, but it takes time to keep tying baits on. So the other thing I do is use a bait band. So that's an elastic bait band, and I've also put a sequin on there. Look, I don't know if you can see that. There's a sequin at the base of the bait. The reason I've done that is not so much with this one, it's quite a hard pop up, but some of the baits that I've had soaking for a while, or the fresher pop-ups from Mainline, they are quite a soft bait, and over time they will sink into that D-ring and become really tight to your shanky hook, which, I mean, you'll still catch you fish, but I prefer knowing that the bait isn't sunk, isn't digging into the hook. So that sequin just literally spreads the weight of the bait and stops it pushing into the D-ring. So it also, I think, gives a little flicker of light, or something else for fish to hone in on. So it is worth doing. I mean, it's not going to necessarily catch you more fish, but to me it's a little thing that I do with my baits. And back in the day when I first started carp fishing in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, that was the only way I ever used to put baits on. That's how I was taught to put baits on by Fishing Buddy at the time, and I still use it to this day. So yeah, going on from that, the only other rig that I use quite a lot is just a standard blowback rig, size 6 hook onto the ring. So you've got the blowback on there, bit of rig tubing, shrink tubing just to give it a bit of a kick, and that's just tied with end trap, quarter end trap. So yeah, I mean, they're the three go-to rigs that I have. I've got a few others, plenty of chod rigs and things that I use, but when I'm looking for an all-round rig, it's always the D-rig. You can use it just about anywhere. As I say, there's loads of configurations for it. That's a stiff hinge rig, so there's 25-pound fluoro there, with a little sinker in the middle, and yeah, so that's the one I always go for. But going back to the Goos then, I mean, well worth getting. It is a lot of money per bottle, but it does go a long way. And I say, you can use it just about on anything and everywhere, and don't think there isn't a flavour for your particular boilie. Mix it up a bit, be creative, think out the box. It's probably going to be one of the biggest downfalls of this channel and myself, is I do think out the box, I do things differently, and people won't like that, which is fine. My channel is more about me showing off my escapades, and if I can help a few people along the way, brilliant. But my opinions are that, they're my opinions. I do blank, I'm not a super fisherman that always catches, but I do catch a lot of fish as well. And there's one of the things that really annoys me is someone might say, you're doing it wrong, that's not the right way of doing it. Who says? You do what makes you happy, and you do what puts fish on the bank for you. If doing it slightly wrong puts less fish on the bank, that's your choice. It's not. Fishing isn't a democracy. It's a sport, it's a hobby, it's a passion, it's a lifestyle. You do it because it makes you happy. Most people do it, certainly more so me, just to be out in the fresh air, get away from the 9 to 5 hustle and bustle, and just sit next to a lake, read a book, read a magazine, and just get away from normal life, if you like. But then you've got the other scale where it's all out to go out and get sponsorship and be the best and be on the TV, and that's probably not so much for me. This is just me sharing my passion, sharing my hobby, and if it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to keep making these videos to annoy people. So what I say isn't always gospel, it's how I do it, it's what works for me. Thinking out the box definitely works. I use technology a lot. I've got drones that I use for you know, scoping a new lake, or the bait boat, which I hardly ever use, more so because they're banned in most places in the UK. It is more for my continental stuff, but I use cameras on them just to, you know, scope out snags and see what the lake bed's like, fish spies and deepers, and, you know, gadgets and bits and bobs I love. Yes, I am a tackle tart, I know that. My gear isn't the best of the best, but I do like the latest and the greatest. We will talk more about my gear and what I bought to go to France with nearer the time. Probably when I get it all out to start packing it in the car, I'll start going through a few bits and bobs. My latest bit was the National Indulgence 5 season. That is a must. I had the old version, the 4-season version, loved it. Even in November last year when it was -2, didn't feel a thing in my 4-season National Indulgence. So yeah, there is still a lot to cover. I will get round to it all, I promise, so make sure you subscribe so that you can be part of it all. I do appreciate all the support. I also understand that there are people that think I'm, you know, doing things wrong. I mean, one of the comments on one of my videos was I shouldn't talk about my local lakes. Well, you know, I'm going to talk about my local lakes because no one else does, and that annoys me. One of the reasons I started this channel was when I was researching Villadon, which is where we're going in November. I could hardly find anything on it. You know, I want to know what bait to take, I want to know how deep it is, I want to know, and there's nothing there. And it's also the two minds. You look at some reviews, it says it's rubbish. Some reviews says they're catching 50-60 fish, you know, each per week. And it's like, well, who do you believe? So these videos are how I see it, and they are honest reviews. They are, if I blank, you're going to see I blank because you're with me. So yeah, it's one of them. I think you could be, you know, the best of the best and people will still criticise you on YouTube. It is a professional hazard, if you like, or a hazard of the job. Someone is always going to take a disliking to you, someone is not going to like the way you're doing it, and my advice to you is ignore it. You know, keep your head down, do what you're doing, enjoy what you're doing, and yeah, so let's keep it real and just let's not let it get to us. You know, it's all about being there, being part of it, and if you can learn something new, brilliant. No one knows everything. I know people that have been in the sport for 40-50 years and they're still learning new things. It's a changing sport, things come out all the time to make it easier or harder, so let's just do what we do. Alright, and I thank you for watching, and if you like what you're seeing, make sure you like, leave a comment. If there's anything you want to see me do, drop a comment and I'll see what I can do. And until next time, tight lines.